Welcome to Conversations with Candidates. I'm Gayla Cawley, reporter for the Daily Item. Our guest today is Lorraine Gately, candidate for the school committee. Welcome, Lorraine.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks for being here. Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself? Where did you actually go to school?
I attended Lynn Public Schools, and then I went on to, I think I'm a student of life actually, because I went on to North Shore Community College for the nursing program. Then I hated nursing, and so then I went on an exploration of what is best for me. And I went to Goddard, which is a wonderful school. You learn to think outside the box, and you learn to do a lot of critical thinking and problem solving. And in my exploration, I got to go to the University of California, Santa Cruz, studying organic gardening and bioagriculture and things that are really now everybody's looking at. But back then it was like I was out of the box. So I always think that I have a futuristic look at life and a good vision for what's coming down the line. So.
Great. So can you just tell me a little bit about what you do for a living?
Well, when I finally got my career, it was teaching, education. So I have my master's in education from Cambridge College, and I have been teaching for 33 years, secondary science, grades 7 through 12. A lot of the years were middle school, 8th grade, physical science, and then then I taught high school biology for years, and then I retired as the 8th grade science teacher at Pickering Middle School, the lead science teacher, and I love teaching. I found what I needed to be in, and that was teaching and working with children and helping students to succeed. That is what I think my job is.
Great. Can you tell me some of your affiliations or organizations that you're involved with?
Some of the affiliations I'm involved with, I belong to the Ancient Order of the Hibernians ladies, Hibernians Order. I belong to Gannon Golf Course. I'm associated with that. Trying to think all the others. Gannon, that. St. Mary's associations, I don't know.
So going off of that a little bit, can you just summarize your accomplishments or talk about some of those for me?
Oh, my accomplishments, where do I begin? Well, let's start with, I was a basketball coach for 10 years, an assistant coach for Lynn English girls basketball. And the girls came to me and they had these old uniforms. So I was the co-founder of the girls basketball, call it, going blank here, boosters. So I started that, and then they could get, raise money and get all these new things and feel good about themselves. What was the question?
Just a summary of your accomplishments.
Oh, then after I did that, and that was successful, I also, it's a hard question. I was nominated by Students for Who's Who in American Teachers. My biggest accomplishment was when my friend Julie Iarati, who was working down the ad building, nominated me for the National Teacher of Excellence in Science and Math, because she could see that her students that I had previously were at the ready mark. They knew what they were doing and they were prepared and they did really well, and she always complimented me. And I always keep up with my pedagogy, the rules, the things that you need to know. I took the retail course to help it's retail, so it's reteach English, reteach teachers for English language learners. Did really well in that. And I don't know, I just love teaching. And I really do a good job, and I've heard that from my peers and I've heard it from my students, and it's just the best job in the world, working with children.
So since you've been involved with the school system for so long, what do you feel is the biggest issue facing the school system right now?
There are a few of them. One of the things is they're over-testing. And it's not really the school system's fault, the district's fault. It's actually like nationwide. It's too much testing and not enough teaching going on in the classroom. I was the type of teacher that would sneak it in, like sneak in the fact that I'm going to have fun and I'm going to teach the students something, but by the end of the year I'm going to help them connect the dots to the most important things that they need to know for that test that's so important to them for getting a high school diploma. But that is a huge issue right now in our country. Also, like having charter schools, trying to raise the cap on those and allowing more to come in. We lose more and more funds from our schools, and it's really difficult when you get limited funds for the major population, and a few are getting the same amount of funds, but they're going and getting those matched by private corporations, and they don't charter schools do not have the same roles as those people in public schools. Like, I have to have my certification in everything I teach. I have to have a certification, but that's not true there. So anyways, that's one. The other thing is buildings, of course. A student, like my example with the basketball team, if the girls felt better about themselves because they have new clothes, I can only imagine how students are going to feel when they walk into new buildings about themselves. And the other issue is I'd like to see after-school programs that are similar to other communities surrounding us. Some of them had before and after-school programs so that if their parents are working out of town, they can go and they can have a safe place to be before and after school. The thing I would add to after-school programs is a homework component, because a lot of parents have told me, as been around the city, that it's really difficult to help their child with their, what they're supposed to know for homework when it changes all the time. Like the math, the curriculum changes a lot. So, and that's dictated by the state. The state is bringing in, you need to know this, and the district is following that suit, but the parents are lost somewhere in the translation. So, yeah, those are the things I'd like to see.
So, just going off of that, how do you plan to address, I don't know if you wanted to address a couple of those issues, or can you just talk about how you plan to go about doing that?
Well, the issues with the building I've already been proactive in. I was running for school committee in 2013, and I supported the new Thurgood Marshall. I'm really happy to hear that it's going to be ready early and on budget, and Pickering will be moving into the pipeline, so I'm psyched about that. The other thing is after school programs, I would like to go and talk to those other communities that have them that are successful and see exactly what they do, because there are a lot of middle class parents here in Lynn, Massachusetts that can afford to pay a certain amount of money for after school programs in school-based in their schools, and there are a lot of parents that cannot afford them. So I would need to go and investigate how exactly they did it. It's not, Lynnfield has it, but I know that there are people that are moving out of Lynn because other communities have those programs and they need those programs, so they're leaving Lynn. And we don't want everybody to leave Lynn. We want everybody to stay in Lynn, because I want to follow the council's vision. The city council has a vision for Lynn, and I'd like to stay with that, and I want the schools to move up with it, and I want that to happen in Lynn. And I am in a very unique position here, running for this school committee, because I have actually attended Lynn Public Schools, and I taught in Lynn Public Schools, but I haven't mentioned the fact that my son attended Lynn Public Schools from kindergarten to his senior year and graduated in 2013. He has now gone on to Lesley University, where he's studying to be an elementary school teacher. So it's like, it's in my blood, it's in my family. I love Lynn. This is so important. We're at like a crossroad of getting those buildings built so that all the students feel good about themselves, getting them in after-school programs where there can be that enrichment factor that gets cut out because they have to focus on the test all the time, and then to turn around and give them help with their homework so that when they walk into their classroom the next day, they don't feel like, I didn't do my homework, I don't know what's going on, but they feel like, oh, I got it last night, it finally clicked, and I understand, and then they all move on. And then when they all move on, that's when we have successful students. It's not necessarily the testing, it's when they get the concepts. That I've seen in my classroom. I've had students that are way behind when they walk in, and I move them up slowly. We take baby steps, and then they take giant leaps in the end. So I know that that's successful. That is a successful model, and I think we can get that in Lynn.
Great. So it sounds like you have a lot of ideas for the school system. Why should someone vote for you?
Someone should vote for me because I really care about Lynn. In 1980s, the state brought in Prop 2.5, and I got knocked out of job after job after job, and I had to work in other communities like Haverhill, Malden, Chelsea, but every single year I came back and I've been on a position in Lynn till I finally got in Lynn. I was blessed to get into Bree Junior High with Nick Costin, and I had worked with him previously when I was long-term subbing over at Easton and at English, and I just love being here. The kids in Lynn are bright, they care about their education, and the best area to teach is middle school or 10th grade biology, because that's when you get them. They want to know. They really do want to be stimulated in learning. That's all. You just have to do it. You have to figure out a way. But we'll have a lot of very bright students leaving Lynn Public Schools.
Thanks.
That's why people should vote for me, because I want not Lynn to be the best of the urban districts. I want us to be one of the best schools in the state. That's what I would really like to see.
Thank you. This has been a conversation with Lorraine Gately, candidate for the school committee. I'm Gayla Cawley, reporter for the Daily Item. For more election coverage, read the Daily Item and itemlive.com.